What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Fins Faithful Podcast. Thanks for joining us. It's Wednesday evening. Boy, Dolphins, big day. They had a joint practice with the Detroit Lions. And from all accounts, Jason, it wasn't a great day. But we're going to give you the unfiltered, uncensored, raw version from Mike Payton. We have him on today. He's the Lions beat writer for A to Z Sports. He was there. He had a tweet that kind of ruffled some Dolphins.
It got around.
Yeah. He created some buzz. He had a tweet out there, kind of ruffled some few Dolphin fans. But we want the truth, and we got him on. That's why he's on here today. His feet were on the ground. His eyes were there. So no better perspective than that. Also, we're going to talk a little bit. There was some injury scare with Chop Robinson. We'll get into the latest news and buzz. Our boy Jonathan, you know him as Honorary Titan, will join us later in the show after Mike. And we'll get into a little quarterback Tua ranking controversy. The Athletic kind of had a ranking I thought was interesting. So I did the exercise, and we're going to do it together here at the end of the show. But as always, we're with you on YouTube. Guys, make sure you hit that thumbs up, hit that little bell, subscribe, comment, flood the chat. Help us keep growing. We appreciate all the good stuff. All right, let me introduce my co-host and co-pilot, Jason Starting. Jason, this is a big show today.
Big show. We have someone coming up in Mike who had boots and eyeballs on the ground. But before we bring him up, I just want to bring 2 points out there.
Okay.
Number one, this was not your parents or your older siblings' Detroit Lions team. This is a 15-2 team from last year and probably one of the top 5 Super Bowl contenders in the league. And the Miami Dolphins are one of the more skewed younger teams from a roster standpoint. Their average age is 25.9. So I'm not saying I loved what happened. Am I shocked with what happened today? Not necessarily. You know, this is kind of the way it should have been. So I'm not jumping off of any cliffs as a fan or an analyst right now, but we'll have Mike give his perspective. But everyone, relax. No panic just yet.
All right, well, let's bring him up. Let's see what Mike has to say. Mike Payton, how you doing? Works for Lions beat writer for A to Z Sports. Ryan, like I said, you had. Should we read the tweet directly before we start? How you doing, man? Oh, you're on mute.
Sorry about that. How are you guys?
Good, man. How you doing? Like I said, let me read your tweet directly just so Dolphin fans can, because it wasn't just you. All the Detroit beat writers kind of were on the Dolphins, every single one. It was kind of a different picture that was painted. But you said either, this is your tweet, Mike, direct quote, either the Dolphins are really bad or the Lions are just a juggernaut. Not a great day for Miami. All right, Mike, rip the Band-Aid off, man. Just tell us what you saw. How bad was it?
Yeah, no, I mean, it just was, for starters, Tua had a really bad day. He got sacked multiple times. Aiden Hutchinson got to him twice. Marcus Davenport got him. Trevor Nowaski got him. Eric Hallett got him at the end of a 2-minute drill. On fourth down, Eric Hallett, a safety who is probably not going to make the Lions roster, sacked him to kind of end their 2-minute drill. He had a lot of throws that he had to get rid of. He was getting chased around a lot of pressure. Offensive line didn't really hold up as well as you'd want if you were Tua. So he had to run around a lot. He had to dirt the ball a few times. He had to throw it out. And if he wasn't doing that, he was kind of overthrowing guys or underthrowing guys. And there was some pass breakups from a couple different Lions secondary guys, like Amik Robertson had probably the easiest pass breakup he's ever had, when Tua just kind of ducked to throw his way. So for him, it wasn't that good. And then defensively for the Dolphins, the Lions, they basically scored on every drive. Every time they had the ball on their side of the field where they were taking on the Dolphins' first team defense, they just kept scoring over and over again. Amon-Ra St. Brown, who was, pro receiver, I think anybody would have trouble with him. But he would just beat Jack Jones relentlessly, just over and over and over again. It was a pretty bad day for him.
Yeah, I saw the highlight going on the Detroit Lions official Twitter account. wasn't a good look for Jack Jones, man. It was like but again, it seemed like it was the Golf St. Brown show. But we'll get into that. Quickly, the Chop news. Did you see Chop go down and kind of get carted off? What did you see happen there? If you were able to see what happened with Chop?
Yeah, it was a good play for Chop. He forced a fumble on David Montgomery, and then just kind of dived for it when he was peeling the ball out of David's hand, and then just kind of landed weird. According to him, he says he's okay, but trainers were with him for a few minutes. They had to essentially move the entire practice down a few yards just to give trainers room to work with him. So obviously I'm not a doctor, but
did you see what part he was it the arm, shoulder area, or you don't?
Yeah, I think it might have been the shoulder, but it all happened so fast, and by the time anybody really could see what was going on, they had kind of moved everything away and taken him up, picked him up and taken him out.
Okay. All right.
Well,
so
thankfully, go ahead, George.
No, go for it.
No, well, thankfully he threw up on an Instagram that he's okay, nothing serious. That's his quote. So, hopefully we'll see Chop back maybe in a week or so. I don't know the timeline yet, but he should get out unscathed. But let me ask you, from a physical standpoint, Mike, how did the Dolphins look? There's all this talk about culture change, a toughness, new identity. Did any of that come out in practice today from a physicality standpoint?
You guys might not like what I have to say.
That's why we have you on here, man.
we want the truth. I mean,
yeah. It felt like the Lions were holding back today. Like maybe they were like kind of told to a little bit because in the past few weeks, these guys have been going at each other. The Lions have been tackling each other like crazy. I mean, even Jared Goff got accidentally sacked by Aiden Hutchinson a few weeks ago, and they've been hitting each other pretty hard. And then this, it seemed like they were they were obviously doing some hitting, but they weren't going like full tackle. They were, it just didn't seem like they were. It felt like they were pulling their punches a little bit, but not like, because they wanted to, because like maybe they were asked to. But that's just me speculating. So nobody don't aggregate me or anything like that. I'm just saying it felt as though the Lions weren't hitting as hard as they had been hitting in the last few weeks. And maybe that's just the way they're going to do it with joint practices. But I didn't see that physicality that the Dolphins are, I guess, supposedly playing with.
Yeah.
Attempting.
Yeah. So, question: What is the line? Because we heard the linebacker. Well, his name escapes me now that he talked about the joint practice. I heard in the first play he got beat by Jillian Hill on a 7-on-7. But what was your kind of expectation, Mike? Like from an outside view, looking at the Dolphins, what were you expecting when you saw the Dolphins?
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously, we all look back at that game against Denver.
Oh.
What was that, last year or the year before?
23, yeah.
Yeah, 23, yeah. And you just think, man, Tyreek, Jalen Waddle, A-Chain, like this is a high-powered offense. And I thought we would see more of that. And to be fair, Waddle didn't do the full practice and Hill didn't participate. A-Chain had some good looks on the ground, especially in the red zone kind of area. But I was just expecting a more of a high-powered offense. Not to, I don't want to crap on the Dolphins, man. I just yeah. It's just not what I saw. It just wasn't. It wasn't the offense I thought was going to bring. I knew defensively that maybe they, after they had lost Jalen Ramsey and a few other pieces. I knew maybe there was kind of a younger feel to their defense, and maybe they would have. I didn't think that they were going to be the 85 Bears or anything like that, but I thought they'd be decent, but not, they'd look young.
Yeah.
And that's what they did.
Yeah. You mentioned, how much was Hill didn't practice? Did Waddle? I heard Waddle was in for a play or two. He wasn't in much, right? Jalen Waddle, did you notice him?
Yeah, Waddle didn't do a whole lot. He did participate, but I don't, as far as an actual snap count, I couldn't tell you.
Quickly, a good question from Lou. You covered Melly. What can you expect from him in Miami? Your thoughts on the Dolphins' new safety, who got in a skirmish today, didn't he? With his own teammate?
Yeah, him and Jamison Williams threw some punches at the very end of practice. It was always fun. You know, these joint practices, they get emotional and they get competitive, and yeah, emotions run high. But as a player, he was great. He was great safety, really good edge rushing or pass rushing type safety. The Lions were able to use him in that spot a lot last year, where he just kind of, or 2023 rather, sorry, he just kind of came on later at the end of the year when they had some edge rusher issues and they needed some guys they needed to find a way that they could manufacture a pass rush, and they started doing a lot of safety blitzes, and Melifonwu just kind of took off. And then he had this big interception against the Vikings that sealed the NFC North for the Lions for the first time in 20 some odd years. Last year he had some injury issues, and it was expected to be more than he actually. He was expected to take like an even bigger step forward, but unfortunately the injuries affected that. And then with Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph, you got two of the best safeties in the league. So he decided to go to Miami. I think it's the best place for him. He's going to get a lot more playing time there probably.
Yeah, shout out. We got Mike Payton, beat writer for the Lions from A-to-Z Sports, breaking down an uncensored view of the Lions practice today. So make sure you guys hit that thumbs up, subscribe. If you're watching anywhere else, come on over to YouTube, check us out. All right, quick question: how was the Dolphins' run game? I had ideas, but I got so many questions as we're going through. Jason, feel free to prop in if you have anything. But how did the run game look for you with the Dolphins, especially that left side, that young offensive line we got with Paul and Savi Anaya?
Yeah, I thought A-Chain had some good looks. I know there was one run where he had it was a 10-yard run. It was a pretty good, solid run. And then in the red zone, they couldn't get any passes going. But when they would run it, they would have some success. But yeah, that was mostly they definitely tried to pass the ball a lot today. So we didn't see A-Chain, being like a bell cow or anything like that. But when he did get some room to maneuver, he made some plays. He did all right.
Yeah, and if you're looking overall at this practice, what do you say you came away with the Dolphins' biggest weakness is what?
I think it's Tua.
Really?
I just saw a guy who seemed kind of erratic out there, and the pressure was really getting to him, and just a lot of errant throws. And like I mentioned, he dirted a lot of balls. He threw a lot of them out of bounds. He struggled. I don't think that means that the Dolphins should get rid of Tua or anything like that. I just think he had a bad day, and maybe he just needs some time, and maybe he'll have a better day tomorrow. But I think coming out of Wednesday, that was the guy, and then Jack Jones, obviously. Those two were the guys who probably had the worst days.
Fair enough. On the flip side, Mike, what Dolphins caught your eye, impressed you, whether they're veterans, rookies, undrafteds? Anybody say, oh, wow, this kid can play?
Yeah, I thought Derek McClendon,
nice.
I thought was pretty fun.
Noise.
He hit a really nice. It was in drills. It wasn't during like 11-on-11, but he was going up against Dan Skipper, the Lions' backup tackle, and he had a beautiful spin move on him, and Dan just kind of felt like whoa, what just happened? I think if that were in game, he would have sacked a quarterback instead of Lions ball boy or whatever it was. And Chop Robinson, I thought was looking good too until the unfortunate injury. He also tried the spin move on Penei Sewell. That didn't work as well as McClendon's, but other than that, I think those guys looked pretty good. Estridge, Estridge or Eskridge. He had some nice catches as well. I thought his name kept coming up over and over again.
Yeah. What about the young defensive tackle Kenneth Grant? I saw he had I read he had a good little pushback on Tate Ratledge in a one-on-one. Did you notice any of the young defensive tackles? I know it's hard to see everything, but did any of the defensive tackles like Kenny Grant, their first-round pick, impress you?
There was one guy, Butler.
Matt Butler. Matt Butler, yeah.
Matt Butler, he had a really nice. It was against Kingsley Ekekwan. He pushed him. He moved him. Like, he moved him back pretty far, a few yards. That one kind of got everybody's attention. In terms of Kenneth Grant, man, I wish I would have paid more attention to him, but I was mostly on the defensive side of the ball today, and then kind of walked over to the offense afterwards.
Yeah. Any other Dolphin players in particular, like McClendon you mentioned? Any other guys catch your eye? Ewers, the quarterback. How did you view the quarterbacks in general besides Tua? I know Zach struggled, but anybody else kind of catch your eye out there?
No, you mentioned Zach Wilson. It wasn't the greatest day for him. I don't know if Quinn Ewers ever, if he did take snaps. I don't remember them. But so that's not saying it was bad or whatever. I just don't remember Quinn Ewers taking any snaps. I'm sure he did.
Fair enough. And, listen, I, as a Dolphins guy, I've always kind of had a couple of NFC teams I've always kind of like enjoyed watching or pulled for. The Lions are one of them, even back in the day with guys like Herman Moore, Barry Sanders, Robert Porcher even. What about this year? How good have they looked? Do you think that they could really make some noise this year? And what's your overall assessment of the Detroit Lions?
Well, this was, kind of an eye-opening day in a sense, because throughout most of camp, defensively, they have looked really good, and the Lions offense has had a ton of problems with that. And there was kind of this belief that after Ben Johnson left, well, maybe this Lions offense has taken a step back, and we're kind of seeing it because it hasn't been that great this summer. And then, at the expense of the Dolphins defense, they really kind of showed that no, they're okay. Everything's going to be fine. They're playing like you would expect one of the top 5 offenses to play. So, yeah, and this team's really come together. And I think defensively, not to bring that up again, but I really think that I cannot stress enough how good this defense has looked this week and the early part of last season. And now that everybody's healthy, this is a group that could easily return back to. For example, last year, week 12, they were number 2 defensive DVOA in the league, and that's without Aiden Hutchinson for 6 weeks. I think they're a top 5 defense with Aiden back, and if they can keep Marcus Davenport healthy as well, this is going to be a very good team.
Yeah, how the 2 rookies look? Because they kind of had a similar draft to the Dolphins. They went Tyreek Williams, and we went D tackle, we went in offensive guard. You guys went Williams and Rutledge. How the 2 young guys look?
Yeah, they're coming along. Rutledge they started him out at center, and they were trying to see if he could do that, and maybe that'll be kind of the future plan once Graham Glasgow retires. But they wound up switching them back, and since he's been over at right guard, it's kind of that's where he's been. That's where he was in college too, and he's just much better in that area, and I think he's going to be pretty good. And then Tyreek is good to have, because Aleem McNeil's probably not going to be back till November, so. He's coming on strong too. I'm interested to see what happens when they have Aleem back and what they do with him and DJ Reader and how much they rotate that. But both those guys are coming on. I think that's where these joint practices are really good for the Lions, because they need this time to get their starters to get these reps, because they don't like to play them in the preseason games. They prefer to use these joint practices as the starters, big reps for the summer. So this is good for them, and I think they had productive days.
You guys made a draft day or draft weekend trade to go up and get Arkansas 6'4" wide receiver Isaac Tesla. I didn't mean to break your heart, George. I'm sorry.
He stole my question. That was my
sorry,
guy.
My man. But how has he been looking? What's your overall assessment, and can he get significant targets with an Amon-Ra St. Brown, with Jameson Williams? Like, what are your thoughts on his potential rookie production?
Yeah, you can really see the vision for him. I think he's going to coming into camp. Tim Patrick was the 3rd wide receiver. I think Isaac Tesla is going to pass him by the end of training camp, and I think you'll see him get a fair amount of targets. I wouldn't expect him to jump St. Brown or Williams in target share unless, God forbid, an injury or something like that happens. But I think he should have a fairly productive season. I predicted somewhere like 400 yards and 3-4 touchdowns. It would be a pretty good year for him, but mostly blocking. I mean, blocking is where he's going to come into play like big time, especially in the run game, and that's why they drafted him, because of how impressive he was at the Senior Bowl with his blocks. So definitely look for him there.
A little backstory now. We do a bunch of draft shows. I had my top. He was in my top 100. I kind of agree with your GM when he said maybe not the best wide receiver in the draft, but my favorite. And I kind of shared that sentiment. So I'm going to have my eye on Tesla. So that's good to kind of see him. Were you covering the Dolphins in that 21 draft, the Penny Sewell draft? I mean, the Dolphins. Were you covering the Lions?
Yeah, I've been covering them since 2014. Okay,
man, take me back to that pick, because we took Waddle. You guys took Sewell. We all wanted Sewell. I know this might hurt some Dolphin fans. How excited were the Lions when we took Waddle? Because I remember that room. Because that's a decision we look back on now, and that could have been easy. I think Detroit might have took Waddle at 7. You know what I mean? Like, it flip-flopped.
It's actually it's really interesting because, everyone knew that the Lions needed somebody like Sewell on their offensive line. Whether it be a right tackle, left tackle, they knew they needed somebody like that. For me, I knew that the Lions needed a weapon, and that's why I wrote several articles about why they should draft Jalen Waddle. Okay. I was all in on Jalen Waddle as the potential Lions receiver, and I mean they brought him in for a top 30 visit. They had virtually, because it was still in the COVID era, but they had talked to him. It just seemed like he was going to be such a good fit, like as that basically what they got out of JMO. I thought he'd be that big, speedy guy that could kind of open up the field and take the top off the defense. And they wound up going with Sewell. So at first I was like, oh man, that's kind of a bummer. But I obviously knew how impactful and how big of a pick that was.
Yeah. Well, man, anything else for Mike, Jason?
Yeah, you know what? If you go into your Detroit Lions crystal ball, where do you see things going at the end of the season? Are they heading to the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to pick against them at this point. I do believe that this is the year that they go to the Super Bowl. Whether they win it or not, we'll see. But I do believe, just based off the way this team is built, the way they're coached, the way just all the talent, the culture, and the way everybody talks, the way everybody practices, they want it. They want it really bad. And if they don't get injured and have all these problems, I think they can make it.
I got one last follow-up, and I hate to touch another nerve in the Dolphins community. Dan Campbell, we obviously loved him from his days as an interim coach. Could you give us your best Dan Campbell-ism or story, or just something to make us cry a little bit more tonight?
Oh, man. I covered Matt Patricia. I covered Jim Caldwell, and Jim was a nice guy and everything. Matt was kind of not a nice guy, but Dan Campbell, I mean, he's just he's the sweetest guy, man. Like he's a hard ass. He's a meathead. He's everything he's a leader. He's everything that you want in your head coach. But like on top of that, man, he's just a really nice guy, and he'll always call on reporter. Just from my stance, like he'll always call on a reporter and or answer your question, or like if two people are talking at the same time, he'll talk to one guy and then he'll come back to the other guy. He's just really good at that. He's really good with the media. He's really good with his players. I mean, the grit and everything that this man has brought to this team that they have not had for my entire life. It's huge. He wins that Super Bowl, he's getting a statue outside. Like, it's happening.
Yeah, he's awesome. I don't think he was ready when he was a coach on here, but we saw the glimpses of what he could be. Mike, thank you so much for joining us. Maybe down the road we link up again if we got any Lions Dolphins stories, and we'll check in with you. Before you go, when we bring on when we recap with Jonathan, tell everybody where they can follow you and find all your work with the A-Z Sports.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at A_Payton. If you want to watch any Lions videos, we are on YouTube at A-Z Sports Detroit, and then we're also on TikTok at the same if you want a 90-second version of those videos. And then if you live in West Michigan, by chance, I am the Lions insider for WZZM 13 TV station there in West Michigan.
All right, Mike. Thank you so much, man. We appreciate it. Let's do this again sometime in the near future.
Sounds good.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate the time. Have a great season.
Absolutely. You too.
Thank you. Fun stuff. It's great getting that eyewitness perspective and an unbiased, really.
Yeah.
Sometimes Dolphin fans and us, we need to hear that. A couple of eye-opening things, of course, but shout out and thanks to Mike.
Yeah, thanks to Mike. Lou, thank you for the question. Thanks to everybody in the chat. Guys, make sure you hit that thumbs up. If you're watching anywhere else, we got 80 people. Come on over to YouTube. Join the chat. Join us. And now we're going to bring on – we're not done. Now we're going to recap it all, kind of more of a Dolphins perspective here, but we wanted to give you a Lions perspective because, look, a lot of the beat writers are tweeting out how bad it was. So and they're unbiased, and it's unraw and uncensored. So let's, we wanted to get his opinion. Yeah, I see some, calm down there, dive bar. I see them in the chat.
I think he's just joshing. He's just joshing.
Yeah. All right. So without further ado, let's start the second half of our show. Let's pick up the man. He's a friend of the program.
He's about to fall off his chair right now when we bring up Jonathan, by the way.
Yeah. Speaking of the dive bars, I see Jonathan in the background wearing something. Let's bring him up. Our guy, Jonathan, you know him as Honorary Titan and the head of the Quinn Ewers fan club. Jonathan, what's up, Jonathan?
All right, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, no, everything's going good, guys. How are you?
Good. What did you think what Mike had to say, man?
I mean, that's what you want to hear, unraw biased opinion on it, right? Like, it was a tough day at practice. I mean, it's a lot of stuff you don't want to hear, but terrible day.
Yeah. I mean, we got some love. Jonathan in the house. Everybody. All right, Jonathan, we haven't heard your perspective before we get into it, and I got my thoughts. What have been your thoughts of the Dolphins so far in camp and preseason? We haven't heard your opinion, and then we'll dive into some tweets that happened today, and then we'll get into some other stuff. But let's get your opinion.
Good pun right there, George.
Yeah.
Good pun.
Yeah.
So, like, starting off camp, it's all hot. All the hype is hot, but I think going up against good competition against Detroit is a good measuring stick on where your team is at. And, we get this whole narrative like Miami can't beat good teams, right? This is your chance to somewhat get to see that measuring stick of where you're at currently. And to hear bad reports coming out today it's kind of discouraging a little bit, but I have high hopes still. But the players that are standing out to me is, Taj Washington against Chicago. Seems like, Zeke Biggers, all those guys, there's a lot of guys that are standing out. Jordan Phillips from Maryland, the rookie we got,
all three of those guys.
To me, he stood out the most in that preseason game.
Dude, that one play we showed it on our last episode. When he shed the double team, that's just pure play strength. That's just unique for a kid that age. But anyway,
so no, he stood out a lot. It wasn't a great debut for Ewers, but hey,
pump the brakes down, Quinn, Jonathan.
But hey, I ain't giving up on one game.
Jonathan, I will say, it wasn't as bad. The receivers didn't help him. The O-line didn't help him. I will say that. It wasn't as bad as the stats, but it wasn't pretty. But go ahead.
And I would love to see him with the second string O-line or, because he's playing on the third, fourth team, what he could do with weapons, I would love to just see it, but it wasn't a good look. I'll admit it.
Jonathan, I mentioned this earlier in the show that 25.9 years old is the average age. They got 82 of the players. That's 91.1% under the age of 30. So do you take things with a little bit of a grain of salt here, knowing that this is a young, rebuild-ish style of a team and not the veteran-heavy teams of the last few years? So does that give you any pause or nah?
Nah, I mean, it's been a rough, man. I'll tell you that. I think me and Cameron Sparks were always, relating on Twitter because we're I think we're both 30, so
younger than me.
We haven't really seen a lot of success, man. So when it comes down to playoff wins, we haven't seen any. And I think the younger generation is very hungry to see the team win a playoff game,
And the older ones.
And the older ones. It's been a while, right? Since the 90s? 2000s.
looking at at my age, and I'm not disclosing that number right now. Like it was really
Mason, you shaved the beard? Did you shave the beard?
A little bit.
Come on, man.
But watching the teams of the '90s with Marino being so enjoyable to watch until the playoffs, and then kind of where you are, it's almost like just such a sense of almost towards hell that we're going to here. But I give you guys a ton of credit because the younger generation, as you put it, has not seen really any success, but you're just as diehard as all of us or any of us. So kudos to you for loving the hurt, man.
The biggest accomplishment I can say we saw was probably a 2008 division championship, and that's because Tom Brady was hurt.
That was my number one. I was at that game. Sorry to, I was at that last game in, they didn't have it. It wasn't MetLife Stadium. It was still the Meadowlands, I feel like. And
it was.
Yeah, and that was the last terrific game that I saw. Not counting the miracle, not counting the 70 burger, but it's been quite a while.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
And yes, Sammy, I am 25 years old. Just for some reason, I was watching sports in the 90s.
For some reason,
crazy.
You know who Tim Bowens is,
All
right, let me give you. I'm gonna give you my. I'm gonna give you a little dose of reality. I know we're being a little positive here, but I'm gonna tell you why I thought. You know what bothers me most about this is I thought this was an important practice for the Dolphins. Coming off the noise, everybody has this. Oh, we practice against the Dolphins. The way they practice is not tough enough, or the linebacker opening his mouth, and what happened with the Bears. I thought this was and again, it's one practice. This is not defining the season, by the way. One practice, but I thought they got a dose of reality today, right?
Yep.
The Lions are not holding hands and pretending like they're building a culture in this country club atmosphere. They don't do that. Their culture is built, right? I'll give the Dolphins credit for going and practicing against these teams. But they practice with an intensity, a purpose, every second. And they said to themselves, so when they face teams, it translates in the regular season. That's what the culture looks like. The Dolphins, we evaluate in our own, and I've always said this, we tend to evaluate in our own vacuum when we're playing against each other in practice. All fan bases do. All reporters tend to do that too. You now face guys with different colored jerseys, by the way, who have Super Bowl aspirations. The Dolphins got a dose of what it looks like and what it takes. They got two choices here. Learn from this. I will say this. I thought they started with this draft. They started addressing that. But they're not close. All right? Not close. And that team is looking to play in January and February. The Dolphins aren't. That's the reality. And they saw that. How do they respond from that? We'll see. Again, there were some good things today. They have some good young linemen. The 3 young defensive tackles, I'm really excited about. I thought this draft really helped them started the process. But they got a dose of reality. And now, how do they respond? It's a lot different than saying you're building a culture. We have leaders. Let's go bowling together. Boom. You face the Detroit Lions, who are about it every second, every minute. Everything they do is with intention and purpose. So that's my kind of thoughts. I'll let you guys digress and kind of do anything. Speak off that. I had to get that off my mind. I know Jason.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
All right,
man. One of the things I wanted to point out, I don't know, like an hour before the show, I don't know if everybody saw, but Amon-Ra St. Brown just torching our corners.
Oh, dude. That was like a Jack Jones cut.
Did y'all see that?
Piece. Yeah. Like that, Jack Jones not going to be playing that at his wedding. You know what I mean? Like that wasn't good.
Yeah.
I will say, though, John and Jason, the corners, they made some tough throws that the corners were like Jason Marshall Jr. When there was the one on the corner on Jason Marshall Jr., I thought that was a really crazy catch and pass. This was the St. Brown and Goff show today. I mean, they were the best players on the field. And we got to be fair. If the Dolphins they can't live without Waddle and Hill out. They can live with one out. Both, not happening. No. These receivers we love, the Taj Washingtons, the NWIs as number one against number one corners, they're not going to separate. They're there to play off the Waddles and the Hills, and then they can eat. We saw today that ain't happening, okay, against a quality defense. And Mike, who just had, he said how good, how good that defense is. So, yeah. Go ahead, John. Were you going to say something?
No, I was just going to say, that's a good point as well. I mean, the reports are saying, bad offensive day for the Dolphins or whatnot, but like you said, no Waddle, no Hill. In a situation like that, that's not our best product out on the field, So
Yeah.
imagine if you have Waddle, Hill out there, Taj Washington, dude, all those little guys that their 3s and 4s are going to feast at that point. So, have we even had our starting O-line gel and play together yet?
No, not without Austin Jackson.
So we don't even
we need Austin.
We don't even know what that looks like. So.
Yeah. True,
I have hope. I have hope. That the line can get it together and the offense will look different come week 1. It's hard to tell right now. Still, I still think it's too early.
Let's break the magnifying glass out and look at some positives where they are. We have 4 straight consecutive seasons that the Dolphins have rostered at least one undrafted free agent. Last year it was Storm Duck, Andrew Mayer. This year, the good bet is that there's going to be at least one. Is there one person or maybe a couple that are on your wish list of the undrafted rookies that are going to make this 53 initial roster?
I don't know on the top of my head on that one.
Some of the young receivers, you got some of the young corners, you got, you like any of the young receivers, the undrafted ones.
We saw
Armstrong's pretty good. He's pretty nice, but I maybe he's a practice squad.
Yeah, I tend to think I don't think either one are going to make it.
I don't think so either. I think we're pretty stacked at receiver pretty nicely. That's a good thing to have, though, right?
Yeah.
No, you're absolutely right there. I'll throw a name out there that has been rising in the last couple of days. Eugene Asante.
Oh, boy. I knew it was coming.
Look, I initially was thinking that he was going to be solely a contender via special teams, but I think he's making a run.
I've heard his name. I've heard his name. Yeah, I've heard his name last few practices. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm thinking he's got a good chance.
Yeah. What about who's getting cut this year on receiver? Y'all think? I think Izukanma, Eskridge,
all of them. I think your 5th and 6th are going to be Eskridge and Taj. I don't know. What about you guys?
I think the Izukanma experiment's over. It's been way too long.
It better be John. How about that?
Yeah.
Again, shout out to everybody watching. Come on over to YouTube. Hit that thumbs up. We got Jonathan. We got Jason and myself. We just had Mike Payton on. Dude, bringing the heat on practice. Said his biggest disappointment in practice day was Tua Tagovailoa. I know he didn't have his best game. I thought that was interesting. I think Mike probably went a little too far on that, but I thought he was going to say like the offensive line or the corners, and he threw out Tua. But Mike was
straight
great.
to Tua.
Yeah. If you check them out at the top of the show, but guys, come on over YouTube and check us out. Join the chat if you got any questions. All right, so what happened to the deep ball, guys? This is concerning me. Even last year when Tua was healthy, the deep passing game in practice hasn't been there. Last year wasn't there. It's not even there when, maybe Weaver's just defending them really well, but they're not playing that same defense these other teams are playing, that quarter-heavy, shell, cover 2 stuff. Is it just the running game has to improve now because they're playing with light to kind of get those light boxes and bring more guys up? But are you guys concerned? I haven't heard anything about the passing game deep in practice much. I've been to a few practices. Either one of you guys want to start? Go ahead.
They're just not well-rounded enough where a team takes it away. There's nothing that they can do to, as you say, George, change the pitch up a little bit. Yeah. Turn the fastball into a changeup. Yeah. In basketball, if you're defending someone without a left hand, you take them to the left, and you take that away. But this is just a situation where until they get absolutely strong on the offensive line and they have the ability to create some sort of a play-action passing game where you're going to have defenders bite. And also, I don't think that they're airing it out in the early going to the summer and preseason just yet. I'm sure we'll see plenty of that in the regular season, for better or for worse. But until they get a little bit of mix, we're not going to see it terrific as we did in 2023.
Oh, those days are over.
Oh, those are. Oh, God. Yeah.
Oh, that's very clear. I don't know if it's effective anyway. If they're doing that, to me, shout out to Adrian. He says Lions great defense made Tua look bad, but he's had a bad day. Well, I think it's a combination.
Well, it could be true.
Yeah, look. If you take Amon St. Brown and Jameson Williams off Detroit, how does Jared Goff look today? I mean, it's not an excuse, but he didn't have his two biggest weapons. You still would like success. You would like one of these young guys to step up, and I'm sure there wasn't a ton of separation. I'm not making excuses for Tua, but we do have to take that in consideration. People say, oh, next guy up. No, there is no next guy. Sometimes you can't lose your two best weapons and be the same. It's just not reality. So, I think it's a combination of all those things. Honestly, Tua not being – that doesn't concern me. To me, what concerns me most is, look, the defense. I'm counting on this defense, guys, to be – I think this key to this season is the running game and the defense. And, again, we're playing a team that's looking to go to the Super Bowl. So we have to keep that in consideration. What was your biggest concern, each of you guys, out of today's practice? We'll start with you, Jason.
Oh, man, biggest concern?
Like the thing you take away that you heard of all the negative stuff, you say, this concerns me. This is fixable, but this worries me a little bit.
Maybe what Mike was kind of saying, not noticing that physicality just yet, a couple of little shining moments on defense, but, this defense has the players to pop people in the mouth and create some sort of a, fear in them. And I hope that we see that. And I hope that that also translates into the opposite side on the trenches in the offensive line. So, until we see with our own eyes this new culture of toughness and leadership and grit and whatever, could be the same old. So I would love for it to be noticeable. Yeah, the Dolphins didn't play well, but damn, were they hitting people? Damn, were they getting off the ball?
Yeah.
Damn, were they physical? Would have loved to hear a little bit more of that.
Yeah. John?
A little thing that concerns me a little bit is, the defense is, the pass rush is there, secondary, corners getting burnt, whatever, and then, the team also coming out and saying, we're not worried about the secondary that we have, like the fans are, or whatever, that's kind of concerning to me.
Wait, hey, John, is that the new offensive line now? Remember, it was the offensive line? I'm starting to have deja vu, guys.
Yeah, it's PTSD. Like I said, we got PTSD. All the younger fans are like, you want to fix
so
this?
Like, man,
it's a problem.
Yeah.
It's a problem, and it needs to be addressed. And for you to think you're okay with that, no.
and look, shout out to Beach.
One reason why your job is on the line, Chris Greer.
And I think Mike McDaniel's job is actually more on the line.
Exactly. And, for them being on the hot seat, they're not acting like it. They acting like they're going to be around.
Chris Greer is definitely not acting like it.
Yeah, none of them. Yeah,
Mike McDaniel doesn't have a choice. If their actions are telling you that he might be in trouble, this year, John.
I don't know. It's just concerning, and it's wild to me that you can just sit there and be comfortable with what we got. I'd be trying to upgrade before the week one or find some help.
You never know. I have to touch on the rumors, or a couple of outlets were saying maybe the Dolphins trade Tyreek Hill. If they do, and I'm not predicting it's going to happen, but if they do, it is going to have to be for a viable starter in some other position. I don't think you need to try to replace Tyreek with another receiver. I don't know that they can adequately, but if you could bring a viable starting cornerback, I know it would probably be tough to get a starting offensive tackle or guard or whatever, but if you can get some sort of a premium playmaker in return, maybe in a pick or so, you might have to consider it. But I agree with you. I think some move has to be made prior to week one if they want to have any chance.
Where would you want that move?
I can't.
Secondary, offensive line depth.
Offensive line depth for sure. I'm not saying trade Tyreek Hill for a 6th, 7th, or 8th swing tackle, what have you. But they need a scrap. If some veteran gets cut economically, whatever, you need to pick him up at sacrificing, maybe that 6th receiver, what have you. But the Dolphins' offensive line depth is very, very scary. I saw a mock Tyreek Hill trade. Not saying this is equal for equal value, but the player that he had in this article on the way back was Isaiah Likely, which would have been that's tolerable because the tight end room is not very good.
That tight end room, you mentioned that, is scary.
Not very good. And I can't say that Darren Waller is going to revert back to 2019 because he's with Frank Smith. So tight end, cornerback, offensive line depth, these are areas that truly need to be addressed, because if they keep on going that offensive line from last year mindset, oh boy, we're going to be in a year from now saying, well, what's the next position that they're saying it is no problem?
Yeah.
Yeah, the tight end room needs help. Like Darren Waller, they actually need that type of receiver. They're just the blocking from Tanner Connor's not there. He doesn't make enough plays when the lights come on. Julian Hill. Jalen Connors was going to be an interesting guy, but didn't work out. But that's a room I'm terribly concerned for. Let's real quick before we get into the quarter. Did you want to say something, John?
No, I was just going to say same. The tight end room, terrible.
Again, shout out to everybody watching. We got almost 100 people. Come on over to YouTube, guys. Give us that thumbs up. Hit that little bell. Help support us and keep us going here. We're with Jason, myself, Jonathan. We're breaking in depth into the Dolphins practice, and we're going to get into it. Stay tuned because we're going to get into the controversy to Mike Sando article, Athletic, with the executives quarterback ranking. If you guys want to go through, let's go through some tweets today of the practice real quick. Just kind of give a Dolphin perspective. I know we did kind of the Lions. So let's go here with we got David Furonis' tweet.
Happy birthday shout out to David Furonis, who does a great job
David.
recently.
Happy birthday, David.
You're up, David, today. Dolphins not participating. Phillips, Jackson, Ingold, Davis, Maham Kamara, Keon Smith, Andrew Meyer, of course, Brian Matos, Hill, and Waddle didn't even really. Waddle maybe was in on one play, and Hill did not practice. We said Julian Hill beat Grant Studdard, the play of the day for the Dolphins. The guy who was running his mouth talking smack. To hit Devon A-Chain. He said, Mike said, I heard A-Chain was probably their best offensive player today. So on the start of the 7-on-7, then Zach Wilson, guys. Any chance Zach Wilson gets unseated? Man, this just wasn't a good look for Zach coming off that preseason game.
No, not at all.
And then Zach intercepted by Nick Whiteside. Early, who was picked by Ian Kelly, had 2 picks. Quinn Ewers. John. Quinn Ewers, impressive first 2 throws. 7, and this is my favorite. Kenneth Grant drove back. Everybody was talking about Tate Radledge in the draft. Dolphins got it, and we took Jonah. Kenneth Grant just drove back Lions. Tate Radledge in one-on-ones, a win, rookie-on-rookie crime. Then Andrew Armstrong, good to see Jason.
That.
Good to see Jason. Andrew Armstrong and Theo Weiss after shaky preseason game. They were pretty good in the one-on-one period. I heard they were pretty solid today.
Yeah, no, I like both of them to consider for the practice squad if either of them or one of them don't make it. But they both have good size, but I think they both bring a little bit of a different element to their game. Yeah. Andrew Armstrong could be, a go up and get it kind of Mossum type receiver on, 20, 25-yard passing attempt, But Theo Weiss is a guy who can create after the catch, also mix in a little bit with that run blocking and overall just grittiness to a receiver. So a little different, but they're both in the same boat right now behind Taj Washington and D. Eskridge, in my opinion.
Yeah. And then another 2, again, he said 2 wasn't sharp, 2 an overthrow to NWI. Zach Rosen responds from the 2 interception. Hit AJ Henning. We've been hearing AJ Henning's name a little bit. Then start 11-on-11, 2 a sack, seeming the vicinity of Patrick Paul. A-Chain was in pass pro. Again, we don't know what happened. Patrick Paul seems to have been solid all through camp. I'm not worried about that.
Yeah, and that one stuck out to me.
Which one?
The Patrick Paul.
Yeah, the Patrick Paul. Yeah, I mean, look.
Yeah.
It's different. It's different, boys, going up against Aiden Hutchinson. Oh, man, he's got Chop Robinson, but that D-line in Detroit, and it's just a different feel. These guys are trying to impose their will on you more. It's just the intensity's a notch up, So, yeah, and we know the Lions got a great pass rush, so. Yeah, that did stand out to me. But overall, Paul's been fantastic. Your boy Zach Wilson missed another open to Easy-E. Not looking good, man. Your Jonathan, your Quinn Ewers agenda here being pushed.
Give him with the 2s. Stop putting them with the 3s. Give him.
I agree. I would like to see that.
Yeah.
David mentioned Hill or Water are seeing any work against the Lions. Then we had the Chop Robinson. Let's talk about that for a minute. I know I was holding my breath, sweating. Mike told us it looked like an armored shoulder. He was there for a while. Looks like he's going to be okay. He put on Instagram, no worries, it's all good. What that means probably doesn't mean that's a season anything, but could be maybe a week, 2, or I don't want to speculate. But man, Jason, best case scenario.
I mean, when you were reading the tweets, we're not there, obviously. You can only read what the reporters who had the eyesight there was. When you see carted off, the thing that immediately scared me was this, a non-contact injury? Was this, God forbid, something structural or ligament or AC, you know what I mean? But it looks like that's not the case. That if they can get out just a week and a half, 2 weeks of Chop being just kind of iced, major bullet dodge. So thank God he is back, or going to be back.
Yeah, Jonathan, how scared were you, man, when you saw that?
Chop Robinson? Dude,
yeah.
I saw it the moment Wingfield tweeted it, like within seconds. So I was like, there's no way that tweet's real. There's no way that tweet's real.
It was like nonchalant. Nobody else kind of picked up on it. I was like, it just kind of went.
I was like,
I think Isaiah Smalls had it first, or somebody, and then like nobody else was picking up on it for a few minutes. I'm like, is that like a mistake tweet or what?
No, it took a while, and I was like, man, this is like at least a minute in and no reaction to this tweet. I'm like,
yeah, same here.
I blew it up a little bit, and I was like, man. After an hour and a half, I was like, okay.
I felt better when I found out it was a lower extremity.
Right.
Then Grant Stewart tackled on Ollie Gordon run, the guy who was running his mouth. I would like to see Ollie Gordon kind of put your shoulder down if you feel him coming, kind of make a statement there, especially to him. Achane was probably the player of the day on offense for the Dolphins. Had a nice game on the round. Misdirection by Brewer. Good to see Aaron Brewer. He didn't see Jonas Savaiinaea to start team drills, but he came back in. Thank you. And then David responded to Isaiah's tweet, peeking over the Dolphins' defensive field, secondary getting roasted. Yeah, all you got to do is look at Detroit's Twitter, their official account. They kind of it was let's say a Jack Jones lowlight film, to put it nicely. Zach Wilson sacked by Roy Lopez. And then David saying, Travis said too his next period was tough sledding. Coverage was good. He was forced to throw in tight windows or create. Eskridge continued to stand out. Mike Payton, who we on earlier, said he was impressed with the Eskridge without Reed and Waddle, and David just re-amplifying the Lions D, making it tough. No mistake. This wasn't a strong day for the Dolphins offense. Back-to-back Zach Wilson throws deep to the sideline. One overthrow, one underthrown. Again, wasn't the best.
Let's get in the middle there, Zach. Let's get that average in there.
Especially after that preseason game. Jalen Waddle was seen in the red zone. I think he had an end around, so he was in for a play or two. And then, look, he got already an impact. There was a Waddle screen for a touchdown. St. Brown just punted the football in there after catching a red zone touchdown. Let me go back. I mean, he was the best player on the field. It was his show. David said he's on fire. Another Tua red zone period. The Dolphins offense just couldn't get nothing going. No rhythm. Tua mentioned that after practice. No rhythm. The execution wasn't there. And they mentioned that. I will say post-game, these guys said, look, when you're playing this level of opponent, you don't execute, this is going to happen. This is what it looks like. Zach Wilson with a tight throw in the hands of Ezekama, but he dropped it. Just rough for the offense. Mike Boone, not good. The new running back they just picked up, who's got an opportunity here, fumbled in the red zone. I don't know how long he'll be around. Pair of sacks again against Tua and Dolphins ones. First one was a coverage sack. Wilson goes back to the draws, PI from Eric Hatlett. Again, you don't see anything, any momentum in the Dolphins offense in this practice. A little scuffle at the end. Mike mentioned it was couldn't see who was involved, but I think he said it was Malafanu and Jamison Williams. So those are some of the tweets. Just to give you a Dolphins perspective, we like to read those to you guys and kind of give you the Dolphins look to this. All right, again.
Shout out to all of it. Beat writing is not easy. It really isn't. So shout out.
And we thank you. We personally, it makes our job easier.
Correct. And I will always cite and credit when I'm doing my work or writing. You guys are the front line. So if you're watching, if you're hearing secondhand, thank you to each and every one of you who make this your career in your life. Appreciate it.
Thank you. It makes our job easier, and we like to read it because you guys are there.
Yeah.
We're honest. We're not going to pretend we're there when we're not. And so we'll evaluate off what we see and hear. But thank you guys. I love reading their tweets. It kind of gives you a visual and gives you guys
100%.
All right, so
not an easy gig.
Let's end on this topic. We've been almost an hour. The Athletic brought out a quarterback list. I'm sure both of you guys saw it. So I think they had. Let's go ahead and bring the list up.
Okay.
Give me a second. Let me go ahead and do that. Live podcasting sometimes not easy, but here we go.
Yeah, that's too high already. I can already tell you we're Two is too high on the list.
Let me get it back up here. I'm sorry. 2 is too high? Here we go.
Definitely.
So this poll was done. 6 GMs, 6 assistant GMs, 6 former GMs, 5 other execs, 8 head coaches, 19 other coaches, including 15 coordinators.
I can tell you right now, 2 is better than Kyler Murray. So
all right, so let's go through it. I did my list. All right. I'm not afraid to say it. I did my list. This was Mike Sando's panel of the top 34 quarterbacks. Yes, boy, we're still going. We're all in here on the Fins Faithful. Shout out to everybody in the chat, Dive Bar, and everybody coming over. Guys, come on over YouTube. Check us out here. We're going over live the quarterback ranking that was just released by Mike Sando of The Athletic. All right, first look here, Jason. What stands out to you? 2 is at 17. We can do the exercise. What stands out to you when you first look at it?
I'm going to say a general statement. I'm not going to move people up and down the ladder.
I will.
That's fine. We'll distribution of labor on this list here, George. But Tua is in this list. You could say he's in the top half of the league. I like that in a sense where I'm not calling him a top 12. I'm not calling him a top 10. But at the same time, he is the right quarterback for this offense and team. So you can compare all the other quarterbacks. I'm not going to compare him to Joe Burrow, to Josh Allen, to Lamar Jackson, to Jaden Daniels. It's not fair. So what I'm going to say is if Tua can just stay healthy, he is the right guy to help this offense be the best it can be. Now, I'm not saying if in a different world Joe Burrow was under center, this team could be a juggernaut, obviously. I'm saying that where it is now, Tua could be ranked whatever you want to call him, but he is the best person for the Dolphins on this roster. And without him, you're going to see what happened last year relatively, because I don't see it from Zach Wilson. I don't think we're ready to see it from Quinn Ewers. If you are a Dolphin fan that's praying for disaster, well, you're a worse person than I am, because that's only one way it's really going to happen is horrible injury. But if you're looking for a surprise kind of season or a better than outlook season, you better hope he plays 16, 17 games, because that's the guy that's going to get you to the playoffs, if anything. Soapbox rant done.
John?
Well, I already told you that I think Tua is already better than Kyler Murray. But Jason's right. Tua is the perfect quarterback for this team. It seems like it's built for him, and you can't just plug and play anybody in this offense. So that alone makes him very valuable to us.
For the Dolphins, yeah, he's definitely a top 7 or 8 guy in this list.
Yes. No, I have him at. If I did my list earlier, I had him at 6.
Ooh.
I had him at 6.
Ooh. Chat, where do you got him at? Chat, I'm curious. Chat, where do you have him on this list? Lou says he dumped Dak, Kyler, Aaron, Purdy, Herbert, and Mayfield.
Yep.
All right.
I'll tell you my top 6
it.
up until then. I had Mahomes first, Josh Allen second, sadly, because I hate the guy, but I'm gonna do it unbiased.
You can hate him or not.
It's a respectful hate from me because he's good. So, but I'm gonna put Allen at second. I'm gonna put Lamar at third. Then I'll put Burrow at 4. 5, I had to go Jalen Hurts, and then 6, Tua.
Okay.
And then 7, I put Herbert at 7.
All right, so I'll tell you mine. Tua's 13.
What? Okay.
Yeah,
well, depends on who you got in front of him.
All right.
I want to know who you got in front of him.
All right, Mahomes, Allen, Lamar Jackson, Jaden Daniels, Hurts, Stafford, Herbert, Stroud, Goff, Love, Mayfield, and it was a toss-up 12 or 13, him and Prescott. I think he's the bottom of tier. I think he's towards the bottom of tier 2. I think Aaron Rodgers, you can throw off that list.
I agree on that. Yeah, you could. This is not one of the work list.
Tier 6. I think he's around 12 or 13. It was a toss-up between Prescott and him. That's why I have him. And I think he's 8 to 12. He's 8 to 12 for me in the league. And when I looked at this list, he's right at the bottom. He's in the bottom of tier. I think he's better. He shouldn't be in the tier 3. He shouldn't be anywhere near. This list loses respect for me when Aaron Rodgers is ahead of him, by the way. But this is, 6 GMs, 6 assistants, former, 19 coaches, whatever. That's how I have it. Jason, do you want to give a range, not necessarily a number?
I mean, I'll tell you.
Is he in tier 2 for you?
If it's look, I mentioned the top 12 number. He could fall just outside of the top 12 for me, and I'm okay with it. So if you take, you could take Rodgers off the list. You can maybe move down Dak Prescott a little bit. You can maybe take Kyler Murray off the list. So if he's falling right next to Brock Purdy, oh, duh, that makes a heck of a lot of sense, doesn't it? Being in a Shanahan type system, McDaniel, and this getting the most out of his quarterback.
After.
Right.
I'd rather have Purdy because they're similar. I'd rather have Purdy after. Yeah.
Sure. I can move to a 2 or 3 spots and be happy with it, but I'm not massively upset other than the Rodgers thing, because I don't think Rodgers is playing 14 plus games this year. So again, call him in the top half of the league, and that's fair.
Yeah. So John, who do you have him over Stroud? You have him over Stroud? You have him over Herbert?
Yeah.
You have him over Mayfield? One. You have him over Love?
Yep.
Okay. I mean, I could see that's the conversation starts at 7 or 8 for me with him. That's where the conversation starts.
I've seen some lists
between 8 and 13, to be honest.
But I've seen some lists have Drake May and Bo Nix ranked higher than Tua.
In 2 years from now, I could see that. In 2 years,
maybe, but I think Tua right now is better than them. And Jaden Daniels, the only reason why I think he's a great quarterback and he's going to be a great quarterback in this league forever. It's just it was year 1. I got to see it again.
Yeah,
I got to see him repeat the same type of.
I agree. It's kind of like what I said about Stroud. I kind of had that same feeling, but the tools are just special.
But Baker Mayfield, I just can't put.
I think Baker, Purdy, Prescott, they're all kind of in the same league. You know what I mean? Like, call them 9.
The 2 are very similar.
Yeah, call him 9, call him 13, call him 14. Jorge, what's up? Shout out to Jorge. He's got him at 12, so similar to me. Yeah, in that 8 to 13 range, I'm fine with that. I mean, 6 is a little rich for me, but especially for this Dolphins offense, he's 6. Like,
if you move Tua above those guys I was mentioning just alone that are ahead of him, he'd fall about 13, 12, honestly. But I mean, in order, I think he's better than Stroud. I think he's better than Goff. I think Goff is just I think Goff just has like a really good offense built around him. I haven't seen Goff what he could do alone without what he has built around him now. Point. I mean, he had good points. He had good weapons in LA at the time too with that Super Bowl team.
To be fair, the Lions kind of structures what you want to see Tua behind.
Yeah,
the running game, the offensive line. I'm sure you can do some. That's a fair point. But here's my point. The Rodgers thing throws this list for credibility, but where Tua is, I'm not like, oh my gosh, like he should have been 10 spots higher. Like he's 3 or 4 spots lower than me. It's a little low, but not like crazy. I don't know how you got. I know obviously Jonathan, you have him at 6, but you agree, Jason. It's not crazy.
It's not. My blood's not boiling from this, but I'll tell you what. My blood is boiling a little bit more than Bo Nix not being over Geno Smith and Trevor Lawrence. I like Bo Nix a lot. It's like that's just fun football fandom. I'm scared of Drake May, to be quite honest with you, because he only played 13, 14 games last year.
Bust.
And he's a boomer bust, but he's got a brand new coaching staff. He's got Josh McDaniel as an offense coordinator now. So there could be a changing of the tide in New England, but not to stick on that. 3 spots higher, I'm more than happy with where Tua would be. Got to get Aaron Rodgers off that list. He just was slow and he's too old. And where I don't know. I don't like Rodgers there.
Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah. That's where I looked at and I was like, what? Like, where Purdy is, if you have Purdy and Tua next to each other, they're very similar. So, again, the number 8 to number 14, dude, there's not a ton of difference in these guys.
With Purdy, I think it's the same thing. It's the offense that's built around him. You put him on another team without Kyle Shanahan, I think you get different results from Purdy.
Yeah.
Just was my opinion.
I agree. All right, well, we went over an hour and 4 minutes. I think we should wrap it up there. We'll be back. I'll be back, Jason. I'm not sure if on Saturday. We'll wrap up the joint practice preview, the Lions game that's Saturday night. Jonathan will be making more appearances on the show. We appreciate him coming on. Everybody in the chat, thank you so much. Don't forget, guys, please hit that subscribe button. It means a lot. It helps the show get recognized in the algorithm. We put a lot of hard work in here. I hate to keep saying it, but we really appreciate it. And give this thumbs up and share and spread the news and spread the chin out. We appreciate all the support that we get. All right, that'll do it. So for Jonathan, for Jason, and myself, fins up, fellas. We'll see you Saturday. Take care.
See y'all.